Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going exploring a world that's, well, it's got a bit of spirituality and numerology and I guess a whole lot of optimism.
It's an interesting concept, the idea that numbers, specific number sequences, hold like unique vibrations that can affect our lives.
Yeah, and the source material for this deep dive is this interview we found on YouTube with an international astrologer.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, they made some pretty bold claims. So get this, so we're talking about number combinations that can attract customers or improve your health or even,
Really?
yeah, even help you find love.
That's quite a range. I'm interested to see, unpack some of these remedies and see if maybe they connect to any real numerology or if there's some kind of psychology behind it.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just jump right in. The first number that really stood out to me was 7158. Now, they claim that if you write this on the left side of your body, it'll attract more customers to your business.
7 is often associated with luck in a lot of cultures and mysticism, too. Makes you wonder about these other digits, though. The 1, the 5, the 8. Do they have any deeper meaning in numerology?
Okay, well, moving on. This one really raised my eyebrows, 3800-069. If you write this one on the left side of your body, it helps with diabetes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they even say it can work in 24 hours even if you're on insulin.
That's a pretty bold claim. You got to be careful with something like that. Obviously, diabetes is a complex condition, and it's important to talk to a doctor or, a real healthcare professional for anything like that.
For sure. For sure. We're not, endorsing any of these claims or anything, just looking at them out of curiosity.
Yeah.
But speaking of bold claims, how about this one? For attracting a crush, they recommend 6484-4638. You write it on your left side, but here's the catch, with a pink pen.
A pink pen, huh? That's interesting. Pink is definitely associated with love and affection, probably because of Venus, the Roman goddess of love. I wonder if the color is supposed to, amplify the effect, Just by association.
Yeah, maybe some psychological priming going on there. And they even mention that the number itself taps into the energy of Venus.
Oh, really? So that makes you wonder, what numerology system are they using? Do these numbers actually relate to Venus or love in those traditions?
Good question. And, Venus isn't all about love, right? It's also associated with abundance and prosperity.
Right.
And guess what? They have a number for that too. 6054-6756. Write it on your left hand this time, but with a green pen, and supposedly your income will increase 3 times.
Green for money. Okay, that makes sense symbolically. But do these numbers actually mean anything in numerology? Is there a connection to Venus there?
It seems like for this expert, the color of the pen is just as important as the number itself.
Yeah, it's like the color is this, symbolic amplifier focusing on a specific area of life. Whether it works or not, who knows? But it's definitely interesting.
Okay, parents, listen up for this one. To help your kids do better in school, the expert says to write 84629-585-4519. You can write it on their left side or even on a water bottle they use a lot.
Wow, that's a mouthful. Maybe the length of the number is part of its power or something. And they say it works because it taps into the energy of all 9 planets.
Yeah, how do they even assign planets to numbers, though? That's something we'll have to look into.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's switch gears for a second and talk about something that affects a lot of people. Acne. The expert recommends 642118789. Write it on the left side of your body and supposedly, poof, no more acne.
This one makes me think about the placebo effect, Could just believing in these numbers actually affect your hormones or stress levels? Because those are often linked to skin problems, and our minds are powerful things. Maybe just the act of writing the number and focusing on clear skin could make a difference.
Now, if you're trying to watch your weight, they have a number for that too. 3587225. Write it on your left side to control your appetite and lose weight.
I wonder if writing it down could act as a reminder of weight loss goals, And then subconsciously it influences your food choices throughout the day. It's an interesting idea.
Yeah, maybe it's like a little nudge from the universe to make healthier choices. And speaking of nudges, for those of you who had trouble sleeping, they recommend 51424-8538. Again, on the left side of the body.
I wonder if the act of writing itself could be calming. Especially if you do it before bed. It could be like journaling or meditation, something that focuses your mind and releases tension.
All right, next up, we have a number for foot pain, 5283-2764. Same deal. Write it on your left side.
It really makes you think about how powerful belief and suggestion can be when it comes to pain. Could focusing on these numbers, even if they don't actually do anything physically, could it distract from the pain or even release endorphins? It's like mental acupuncture.
Okay, get ready for this one. They say that writing 28-34491 on your left side will balance all 9 planets and bring you a happy life.
One number for everything. Sounds a little too good to be true. But then again, the placebo effect is pretty amazing. If people believe this number will make them happy, maybe they'll actually experience positive changes just because of that belief.
Before we move on, let's hit these last two numbers. So for anyone who wants to live abroad permanently, the expert recommends 62909762. Write it on your left side.
That one's a little more abstract. Maybe the idea is that focusing on this number will give you the persistence and resilience you need to deal with, immigration and all that.
Yeah, like manifesting your visa with a pen and some faith.
Exactly. It's about aligning your actions with your intentions, even if it's all in your head.
And finally, if you're facing surgery and want to avoid it, the expert says write 557286 on your left side.
Well, I certainly wouldn't advise anyone to skip surgery just because of a number, but a positive mindset can definitely help with healing and recovery.
That's for sure. So there you have it, a whole bunch of numerical remedies for everything you can think of. We've covered a lot, but we'll be back for part 2 to really dig into some of these claims.
Welcome back to our deep dive on angel numbers. We spent the last part hearing some pretty amazing claims about how they can affect everything from your business to your health. It's a lot to process for sure. Some of those numerical remedies sounded pretty interesting. Some were a little out there, but they were all definitely original.
It's fascinating how these numbers are presented as a way to achieve your desires, like a shortcut to attracting customers or improving your health.
Yeah, in part 1, we went over some of those specific numbers and what they're supposed to do. But now I'm curious about the reasoning behind them. You mentioned numerology earlier. Could there be a link between these number combinations and established numerological systems?
That's where things get really interesting. The expert we were talking about didn't actually say what numerological system they were using. But there are a few possibilities we can explore, like Pythagorean numerology, where every number from 1 to 9 has its own traits and energies.
So if we looked at these angel numbers through the Pythagorean system, we could figure out what they're supposed to do by looking at each digit.
Exactly. Let's try it with the number for attracting customers, 7158. We talked about the number 7 already, how it's connected to luck and mysticism. And 1 could represent new beginnings, which makes sense if you're trying to get new customers for your business.
Right. And the number 5 in Pythagorean numerology usually means change, adaptability, and freedom.
So maybe it symbolizes attracting different types of customers or being able to adapt to a changing market.
That's a good interpretation. And lastly, we have the number 8, which is often linked to abundance, power, and success in Pythagorean numerology.
Makes sense if you're talking about attracting customers and growing your business.
Exactly. So even though the expert didn't specifically say they were using Pythagorean numerology, we can see how those individual digits could actually fit with what the angel number is supposed to do.
Like a hidden code just waiting to be cracked.
Yeah.
But remember, this is just one interpretation based on one specific numerological system. Other systems might interpret these digits differently.
For sure. Take Chaldean numerology, for example. It's an ancient system from Babylonia that really emphasizes the vibrations of numbers and how they affect our destiny.
So it's less about specific traits and more about the overall energy of the number.
Yeah, exactly. And unlike Pythagorean numerology, Chaldean numerology doesn't even give the number 9 a numerical value. They think it represents the spiritual realm, something beyond our understanding.
That's so interesting. So if we were to look at these angel numbers from a Chaldean perspective, we'd focus more on the overall energy they create instead of breaking them down into individual digits.
Exactly. We'd be looking for patterns or repeating numbers that have a special meaning in the Chaldean system.
Like in the number for diabetes 3800-069, there's a repeating 0.
And in Chaldean numerology, 0 is considered a sacred number. It represents the void where everything comes from.
So maybe in this case, the repeating 0 means going back to a state of wholeness or resetting unbalanced energies.
I like that interpretation. It just shows how the same number can have totally different meanings depending on how you look at it.
This is making me want to go out and buy a numerology book and start analyzing every number I see.
It's a fascinating subject. Now, going back to some of the other numbers and what they're used for, let's talk about the one for attracting a crush. 6484-4638, written with a pink pen. That one really caught my attention because of the specific color.
Me too. It almost feels like it's part of a ritual, adding another layer to the whole thing.
Exactly. It makes you wonder if choosing a certain color, in this case pink, which is associated with love and affection, if that makes a person's intention stronger and helps them focus.
And the expert said that this number taps into the energy of Venus, the planet of love. Maybe they're using a specific type of numerology that connects numbers to planetary influences.
Definitely. It's something worth looking into. There are systems out there that link numbers to planets and their energies, but it's not as well known as Pythagorean or Chaldean numerology.
And speaking of Venus, it's not all about love. It also represents abundance and prosperity, which brings us to the number for increasing your income. 60546756, written with a green pen.
Again, we see the color playing a role. Green usually represents money and wealth. It's like the color is a visual cue that reinforces what you're hoping to achieve.
But it's not just about the color. The number itself is supposedly the key to getting more money. What can we learn from these specific digits?
Well, without knowing exactly what numerological system this expert is using, it's hard to say for sure, but we can speculate. For example, some systems associate the number 6 with harmony and balance, which could hint at achieving financial stability.
And the fact that the digits 6 and 5 are repeated might make them even more important in the sequence.
That's a great point. Repetition is often seen as a way to emphasize certain energies or vibrations in numerology.
Next, we have the number for academic success. 84629585451 sign, which the expert suggests writing on a child or their water bottle.
That one really stands out because it's so long. It's the longest sequence we've seen so far. Maybe they think the more digits there are, the stronger the effect.
That's an interesting thought. And they said it works because it taps into the energy of all 9 planets.
That's a big statement. It suggests that each number is linked to a specific planet and its energy. We'd need more information about their system to really understand how they make those connections.
Now for acne control, they recommend 642118789, written on the left side of the body. It makes you wonder if where you write the number matters.
Yeah, that's a good question. Is the left side of the body seen as more receptive to these numerical vibrations in their system? Maybe it has something to do with the idea that the left side is connected to the subconscious mind in some traditions.
For weight loss, the expert recommends 3587225, written on the left side, to help control appetite and lose weight.
This one really makes you think about how simply writing a number could possibly affect a complex process like weight loss. Could it be that the act of writing is like a symbolic commitment to your weight loss goals?
Maybe it acts as a visual reminder that keeps your intention in mind all day long.
That's definitely worth considering. Now, for those who have problems sleeping, they recommend 514248538, written on the left side of the body.
I'm really curious about the psychology behind this one. Could the act of writing itself be calming, especially if you do it before bed?
It's possible. Writing over and over could be a form of meditation that quiets your mind and gets it ready for sleep.
Okay, let's move on to the number for foot pain, 52832764, written on the left side again.
This one's particularly interesting because it's for a specific physical problem. It makes you wonder if there are numerological systems that associate certain numbers with parts of the body.
That would be fascinating to explore.
It would. Now let's talk about the number that's supposed to balance all 9 planets and bring happiness, 2834491. You write it on your left side. This one stands out because it seems like a one-size-fits-all solution.
Like a magic key that unlocks total bliss.
Exactly. It makes you wonder if this expert system emphasizes the idea of planetary alignment and how it affects a person's well-being.
Before we wrap up part 2, let's touch on the last 2 numbers. For those trying to move abroad permanently, the expert recommends 62909762, written on the left side.
This one's a bit more abstract. Maybe they believe that focusing on this number can bring you good luck or give you the strength to deal with all the complicated immigration stuff.
It's like using numbers to send positive energy into the process.
Exactly. And last but not least, if you're trying to avoid surgery, they say to write 55726 on your left side.
This one really shows how powerful belief and positive thinking can be when it comes to health.
Absolutely. Of course, it's important to be careful and not just rely on numbers to deal with medical problems, but there's no doubt that a positive mindset can help you heal and recover.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into angel numbers. We spent the last 2 parts exploring these fascinating number sequences and how they supposedly affect everything from health and wealth to even finding love.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. We've looked at potential connections to numerology, analyzed the individual digits, and even explored different systems like Pythagorean and Chaldean numerology.
Right, but now I think it's time to shift gears a bit and talk about the human element, the psychology behind why people are drawn to these numerical remedies.
Exactly. We've broken down the numbers themselves, but now let's focus on the people who actually use them. What makes them believe in the power of these specific sequences? Is it just wishful thinking, or is there something deeper going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's a question that really gets to the heart of human psychology. We're always searching for patterns and meaning in the world around us.
Right. We're pattern-seeking creatures by nature. We can't help but try to find order in the midst of chaos.
So these angel numbers are basically another form of pattern seeking then. Kind of like seeing faces in clouds or finding significance in coincidences.
Exactly. Our brains are wired to make sense of things, to find connections, even when they might not really be there.
But it's more than just seeing patterns, right? There's a strong element of belief and faith involved in using angel numbers.
Oh, absolutely. Belief can be incredibly powerful. Just think about the placebo effect. Sometimes just believing that something will work can actually make it work.
So you're saying that the act of writing down these angel numbers and focusing on what they're supposed to do could actually trigger some kind of internal change.
It's definitely a possibility. Our thoughts and beliefs can have a huge impact on our emotions, our actions, and even our physical bodies. By doing this, people are basically focusing their intentions and directing their energy toward a specific outcome.
It's like giving yourself a dose of hope and optimism.
Mm-hmm.
And we know those emotions can be really good for our well-being.
Exactly. Hope and optimism can be incredibly powerful forces. They can motivate us to take action, help us overcome challenges, and ultimately create positive change in our lives.
But there's got to be a flip side to this, right? What are the risks of relying too much on angel numbers or any kind of external guidance?
That's a great question, and it's something we need to think about. While belief can be a powerful tool, we need to balance it with critical thinking and a healthy dose of skepticism.
Especially when it comes to things like our health or making big life decisions. We can't just rely on numbers to solve complex problems or cure serious illnesses.
Exactly. It's crucial to remember that angel numbers, while they might be comforting or inspiring, are not a replacement for professional advice or proven solutions.
So it's about finding that middle ground between belief and action, faith and reason. Angel numbers might give us a sense of hope and guidance, but we can't let them control our lives or stop us from getting professional help when we need it.
I agree. It's important to be aware of confirmation bias, too. That's when we only pay attention to information that supports what we already believe and ignore anything that contradicts it.
So we need to be mindful of that. And
Right.
ultimately, we're the ones responsible for making our own choices and shaping our own lives.
This has been such an eye-opening discussion. It really highlights the power of the human mind, our deep need to find meaning and purpose in the world, and the endless fascination we have with the unknown.
It's definitely made me look at numbers in a whole new way. Maybe there really is more to them than we realize.
Or maybe the power comes from the meaning we give them. What do you think? Let us know in the comments.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of angel numbers. We'll see you next time. And until then, keep those minds curious and don't be afraid to question everything.